It is an honor and a great joy to be a part of your worship this morning. However, I also wish that we were meeting under a different circumstance. I want to say thank you to all of you, to every one of you, for stepping up, especially for ministering to your pastor and his family. The church is at its best during a difficult time such as this. And so thank you all for being there, for ministering passionately, compassionately for your pastor and for the extended family. This is not the first time. This will not be the last time, unfortunately. This is a part of human life. So thank you. And as you all know, very soon, as time goes by, we will all go back to our daily routine, and that's when reality begins to sink in for the bereaved family. But I know that you will continue to minister to them, visit with them, check on them. So thank you all. And also I want to say thank you for the special music. I always enjoy the music. You may not know about me, but I am also a very good singer in the bathroom. How many bathroom singers we have here? Okay, there are a few. Looks like we have enough to start a bathroom choir or something. And also, I know this is the Pentecost Sunday, and thank you for the wonderful Pentecost sermon. I wanted to trick whoever was going to do the children's sermon, because sometimes I'm listening to children's sermon and I'm thinking to myself, there goes my sermon. And I don't have anything else to say, but I decided to choose a different passage. So I hope that God will speak to us through this text. Someone once said, "We are not in the land of the living, going to the land of the dying. We are in the land of the dying, trying to get to the land of the living." I think that's a very different perspective, right? Especially as Christians. And a good perspective at that. What we have here this morning is a scripture text that tells us about a community, a Christian, a faith community that is torn over illness, over disease and death. And as you know, there is not a human community that has not been touched by these realities of life. And what we read about this early Christian faith community is not different than what you are going through today. There was shock. There was a sense of loss and unimaginable grief. So let's explore this text and see what God is telling us. First, there's the showering of praise and appreciation. When Peter arrived, the first thing the community did was to shower praises and appreciation for a member who had just died. I wonder, as I listen to the text, as I read the text, I wonder if the community members ever told how wonderful, how giving Dorcas was before she passed away. As a clergy, I have done so many funeral or memorial services. And I have often wondered why we withhold our praises and appreciations until the day of funeral or memorial service. If I were to ask you about Dane, I believe all of you will have many good things to say about her. But the question is, did you ever tell her how wonderful, how sweet she was while she was with us? You may say, no, I didn't think. I didn't think of telling her because I never thought she would leave us so soon. And that's the more reason for us to appreciate each other daily, because tomorrow is not guaranteed, right? And I'm not saying this to make you feel guilty, but probably I am worse. I am not good at appreciating or praising people who are around me, especially my family members, my wife and my children. I'm glad they are not here this morning. Otherwise, they will be saying something to me. Words of appreciation and affirmation not only improve our relationship, whether it's a church relationship, familial relationship, or friendship among co-workers, but they also provide strength and joy in the journey of life and faith, especially when life is hard and filled with challenges. Such kind of words can lighten our burdens, even though we may not know each other's burden. Because behind those smiling faces that we see, especially on a Sunday morning like this, there is pain, there is sorrow, there is struggle that we all go through, whether we are people of faith or not. So instead of reserving our praises and affirmative words for the day of funeral, let's learn to do so here and now, right here, today, every day. Second, the writer spoke of Tabitha as a disciple. The text says, in Joppa, there was a disciple named Tabitha. Now, you may say, so what's a big deal about that? Actually, it's a big deal. Today we are reading English translation in the 21st century. So it may seem unimportant to us that a woman is called a disciple. But if we were reading the text in its original text, that is original language, which is Koine Greek, you will right away recognize that the word for disciple here is different from all other parts of the Bible. Here, Luke uses the feminine word for disciple. The masculine form is always used elsewhere in the Bible. So that's the big difference. In fact, this is the only place in the Bible where we see the feminine word for disciple. The term is always reserved for men, male disciples or believers. So in today's parlance, it would be like saying Pope Maria. Have you ever heard something like that? It's unheard of. It may never happen in our lifetime. So that's how different, dramatic it is. But true to his theology, Luke is here lifting up an outcast, a marginalized person. And he is once again transgressing the religious taboo of his time. That is why this is very important. So, like today, women are relegated to the lower rung of society. And here is a woman who was rejected by the society because of her gender and because of misfortune of being a widow. Being a widow. Luke, the writer, however, honors her with the title disciple, a feminine term, disciple. And in doing so, as he always does, he lifts up the marginalized, the outcast, and the downtrodden and hails them as God's beloved children. And he emphasizes that God is a God of all, is the God of all. That God does not discriminate. And that God, and there is no partiality or exclusion with God. So despite her misfortune, despite her unjust status in society, she did not grow bitter, or she did not withdraw herself and lived in seclusion. Instead, she chose to quietly make a difference by choosing to serve the least and the last in her community. What a beautiful soul. Third, let us look at the meaning of her name. Oftentimes, as you are aware of, women are mentioned in the Bible without name. There's many women mentioned, but without really mentioning their names. There was a woman, such and such, a woman. No name. But here, once again, we have not only a woman, but also a widow who is mentioned by name. So in a culture where the status of women was determined by their attachment to a male person or married to a male person, here is a widow who was considered cursed by God and thus was rejected and despised, whose name is mentioned by the author. And Luke is careful enough to make sure that her names, both in Aramaic and also in Greek, are mentioned, that we get her name in both languages. And interestingly, in both languages, the meaning of the name means gazelle. And in the Bible, gazelle is often praised for its beauty, for its swiftness. And very interestingly, again, Tabitha lived in a place called Joppa, which means beautiful. So here is a woman whose name is a reference to beauty and comes from a place called Beautiful. And she may have been physically beautiful, but what Luke is trying to tell us is that she was certainly beautiful in her deeds and works. She had a beautiful heart. Dorcas or Tabitha was beautiful. She wasn't beautiful because she lived in Joppa, a place called Beautiful. But Joppa was beautiful because Dorcas lived there. Joppa, in other words, was made beautiful by this woman with a beautiful heart. People come to your church not because your church building is beautiful. Yes, it is beautiful. I agree. But they don't come to church just because you have a beautiful building. They come to your church because beautiful hearts, because of your love and compassion, because you are welcoming, you are hospitable. And when they say, this is a beautiful church, they are not referring to the building itself. They are saying that you are a group of beautiful people with beautiful hearts, ready to serve, ready to make a difference. And you may have the most beautiful building in the world, but if you are not welcoming, you are not hospitable, no one will dare to come and worship with you. But because you are a group of beautiful souls ready to serve and welcome whoever comes into the doors of your church, people experience deep down in their heart as they talk to you and worship with you. They want to be a part of your faith community. So the church is not the building, as you have heard many times. The church is you, God's people, serving together. Finally, Dorcas, or Tabitha, devoted her life to doing good deeds. Now, we don't know a lot about this woman. There is not a long chapter or text about her. We have no record of any of her words. Even though we believe that she might have said so many good words, encouraging words, we have no record. We have also no record of her writing a book or preaching sermons. It was her deeds, her good work that is remembered here. It was her life that was significant. Not her words, but her works were her eulogy. Someone once said, preach the gospel, and if necessary, use words. Isn't that beautiful? All of us can preach the gospel without necessarily using words. And that is what it means to be truly Christian, actually. So Dorcas, or Tabitha, was truly a significant woman. And when she died, she had left a legacy. She left behind a legacy of lives she had touched with God's love. Her life might have been short, but she left behind an irreplaceable legacy. She was a woman so great in her community that they could not bear to lose her to death. And when she became sick and died, her good works ceased. Joppa church was so devastated, and they were willing to go to any length to get her back. So they sent messengers to get Peter to come and do whatever he could, because she was too wonderful to lose. What a heritage, what a legacy she left. What will your works say about you after you are gone? Besides your family, would it make a difference in anyone's life if you die today? When it's all been said and done, what will you be remembered for? What will I be remembered for? And what will the things people bring in their hands or in their hearts to your funeral? What will their memories be? What garments, if you will are you making for others that will clothe them, protect them, and warm them after you are gone? Thank God, Tabitha is still alive in all of our local churches. You are modern Tabithas. You are modern Dorcas. Beautiful. So, like Dorcas, may your good works follow you into eternity. Amen.